Hello, everyone. This is your Astrology Horoscope for Monday, April 1st, 2024. I'm astrologer Alex Skyles, and welcome to the Moonbase. Hope you guys are doing amazing. It's good to be here with all of you. Coming into Monday, wow, Mercury's going retrograde today. This moon's in Capricorn, being disposited by Saturn. Mars is getting very close to Saturn, and the sun is dispositing Mars. Venus is on its way to conjunct Neptune. It's 2 degrees away. There's a lot of buildup here. Nothing has quite gone exact yet, right? And this is all building up to this solar eclipse we're about to have in Aries. So now with the moon in Capricorn getting ready to square the sun this evening as well, there's a lot of Mars and a lot of Saturn energy in the sky. So, I really think coming into this week, even though Mercury's going retrograde, yes, Mercury retrograde, it's great to revise things. It's not great to start new things, right? But at the same time, it's like this is very much connected to, what we've been building over a long period of time. This moon sextile Saturn today, it's like we're feeling very driven. We're coming into this week feeling like we're ready to go. But at the same time, we don't want to overstep or, jump the gun too early. We want to play it smooth, play the long game here. We've been playing the long game with Jupiter and Taurus. This is all about the long game. But with Mercury going retrograde in Aries, Aries is a fire sign. All the retrogrades in 2024 are in all fire signs. So we're going to have a Mercury retrograde in Virgo that's going to go back to Leo. We're going to have a Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius later this year. So, it's like mentally, the fire can dim a little. The fire is not gone. The fire is just, it's kind of like when the candle gets to the end of its wick and the flame is just kind of chilling, right? And when Mercury comes direct here on April 26th, I think it's the 26th or 27th, around there, we can light a new candle. The fire is going to be lit in a whole new way. But today, on Monday, coming into this week, there's so much Saturn and Mars energy with the moon in Capricorn, sextiling Saturn, which is great. And Mars is just a few degrees away from its conjunction to Saturn. So we're going to see this coming into next week, but it's building up, right? This is all building up to the solar eclipse. Venus is just barely 2 degrees away from its conjunction with Neptune. So spiritually, we've been evolving, we've been growing. When it comes to what we've been building and our destiny unfolding in a very powerful way, this has been going on since December. And when all planets came direct coming into the first week of January, we're going to start to see things show up, and we're feeling more driven than ever. Mars-Saturn conjunction is the most driven conjunction in the zodiac, in my opinion. And Pisces is a little different. Pisces doesn't do well with malefic Mars energy. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. Not very Saturnian or Martian. So creatively, spiritually, artistically, this is very much like what we've been working towards when it comes to our spiritual vision. Our creative and our artistic vision, and actually practically laying out a solid foundation and a solid groundwork for us to really execute our bigger, higher vision here. And we've been having this conversation for a minute, and now it's really starting to build up, and this moon making this sextile to Saturn and Mars today, with Mars right before its conjunction with Saturn. It's we're feeling like we're really ready to build, and continue building. And really, there's no end in sight, really. It's always kind of like this, constant effort and constant work, day in, day out. It's I feel like a lot of the illusion that we fall into, especially with Neptune, is thinking that, we're going to get to this place and we're finally going to complete this thing. It's Saturn does rule completions, but when we complete something, that takes us on to the next phase and the next phase. And that's what Capricorn is all about. It's what Saturn is all about, is, starting, committing, following through, working hard, and then completing and then building on top of that, and so on and so forth. So like we're feeling like this energy of like, wow, like we're seeing the results show up even more. Jupiter's now at 17 degrees. Mars is about to conjunct Saturn. I mean, we know what we put in. We know how hard, we've had to work to get to where we're at now, and if you've really been on a positive track, you've really been putting in the effort, and you've really been, not letting the matrix dictate your reality and you creating your own reality, because Pisces is all about creating its own reality. Pisces and Neptune, it doesn't want to deal with the Saturnian reality that's created for us. Pisces in the 12th house and Neptune wants to create its own reality. And to me, that's what a lot of this has to do with too. It's like actually like here on this physical plane in this earth, this energy right now with the moon in Capricorn coming into Monday, sextiling Saturn and Mars just about to conjunct Saturn here in Pisces. It's like we literally have the practical manifestation of creating our own reality now. And especially with Jupiter and Taurus, 2 degrees after its shadow period, and it's only 3 degrees away from its conjunction with Uranus. We're going to see here in just a few weeks on April 21st. It's April 1st today, April Fools, whatever the fuck, I don't know. Like, there's no fooling around here. Like, there's, as far as I'm concerned on this April Fools, the moon's at Capricorn. There's no bullshit. Moon in Capricorn is no bullshit. It's getting down to the dirt, right? And doing the work and building up from there to get to a higher place and to build the empire that you want to build, And it comes down to this Piscean vision of creating your own reality. And like, when it comes to this Venus-Neptune that's building with this, it's like, man, like, I think we're creating things that we may not even, like, understand yet. We may not even be able to, like, fully realize within ourselves what we've been doing. And that's how the subconscious works, That's how Neptune and Pisces tend to work, is that it's like we just kind of go through the motions and don't even realize what we're doing and what we're putting in and the things we say and the seeds that we plant, But over these next few weeks, we're going to start to see these things show up. And this moon today activating Mars in a very positive way. It's like, wow, like we're feeling very determined to really take the reins here and want to create our own reality in a very positive and powerful way. This moon will square the sun. This is the third quarter square before we get to this eclipse that people are, there's so much fear and shit going around. I see it. It's just like there's nothing to fear going into this eclipse. Yeah, we know what's going on in the world. We know there's crazy shit going on, right? But, and that's how I feel about this moon in Capricorn squaring the sun in Aries. It's like the sun in Aries is exalted, right? The moon in Capricorn, no. The moon does not like to be in Capricorn. The Capricorn is cold as fuck, It's in its detriment. It's in its, place where it is the coldest, The opposite of Capricorn is Cancer, and Cancer rules the moon. So this sun in Aries having some conflict with the moon today, if anybody's trying to pull you out of yourself, they're not going to win. That energy is not going to win. If there's any fear building up around this eclipse of like, oh my God, things are just going to, yes, of course, like we just saw the whole P. Diddy thing and Homeland Security raiding his fucking house in L.A., which is not far from here, Bel Air area, and the fucking his house in Miami. We saw all that shit. Like, there's so much going on, and like there's a lot of people being exposed. Yeah, there's crazy shit going on. Right? There's so much going on overseas and the wars, and it's just going to keep going. It's going to keep perpetuating. And yes, this eclipse is going to trigger a lot of things going on globally, And honestly, I thought it was kind of fucked up. It's like, the White House totally denouncing Easter, and spreading freaking sexual propaganda, to overshadow Easter and all this shit. Like, I think that's insane. Like, doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are or whatever. Like, I'm not necessarily I don't really give a shit. But whenever you start to see like this kind of shadow overhang, you know, of like something's trying to control reality in a totally different way. It's like today, this is reminding me of like, wow, the sun in Aries squaring the moon in Capricorn, the sun's exalted, the moon's in its detriment. No, the moon's not going to win. It's like, you know what? Yeah, there's crazy shit going on. Things can get dark. Things can get negative. Capricorn is dark. You know, it can be dark. The reality of Saturn can be dark. But with this sun in Aries being exalted, it's like we have to keep on our own path. We have to keep doing our own thing and keep creating our own life. There's so much, you know, amazing manifestation energy of us having this window and ability to create our own reality in ways that we're not going to see in for a long time. We're not going to see, you know, Jupiter in Taurus conjunct Uranus in Taurus, you know, for the last time we saw that was 1940. That was the last time we saw Jupiter in Taurus conjunct Uranus in Taurus. So we're not going to see that again for a long time. And Venus is 1 degree away from its conjunction with Neptune. So by tomorrow, this you know, conjunction is going to be exact, and it's going to be a beautiful experience. A lot of beautiful things are going to start to show up in our lives, and this is happening over the next really 2 months for me, in my opinion. Like, this is really going to be very special. So, you know, we have to stay on our own path here. We don't want to let anybody who's trying to control us emotionally or manipulate us emotionally with this moon in Capricorn, squaring the sun in Aries. It's like, no, you know what? Fuck you. I'm my own self. You do your thing. I'll do my thing. Who gives a fuck? Like, you know, like, I'm not here to try to control or manipulate a situation to suppress. Like, that's what this kind of energy is going on, and we're seeing it, you know, and people casting illusions. Yeah, this Venus-Neptune conjunction is very beautiful, but we might see more propaganda than ever. We might see more illusions being casted to deceive us in very Neptunian ways. As beautiful as Pisces and Neptune in the 12th house can be, it's like, it can be very deceptive. It rules illusions. Pisces rules illusions. Neptune in the 12th house rule illusions. It's all the things that are hidden, all the things that are secret. With this Mars, Saturn, and Pisces, a lot of secrets are coming out. So, very well today, you know, a lot of fucking shit might start to really surface even more and more and more. It's been bubbling up since, you know, Pluto has moved into Aquarius, and we saw the Sun-Pluto conjunction. I mean, shit really ramped up when it comes to the outer realms of the hierarchy that we exist in, that, you know, we can't control, but, you know, wants to control us. It's like, man, the sun in Aries is just like, you know what? No matter what, like, yeah, Mars and Saturn are reminding us that there are boundaries, there are limitations to our physical reality. We can only go as high as the mountain can reach. We can't, you know, go past that. You know, we have to respect the law of gravity. But at the same time, it's like we have to build our own tower. We have to climb our own mountain. We don't want to climb a mountain that somebody set out for us and wants us to climb, and really that this mountain that somebody else wants you to climb really takes you to nowhere. And, you know, it can lead to emptiness, right? There can definitely be a lot of, you know, friction today with, you know, there's on one end of people, on one end, there are going to be people who are just really fucking excited and driven and feeling extra driven today. And then there's going to be some, like, you know, dark undertone of, like, people, like, being a little threatened by other people's just inability to just be themselves and do their own thing and not give a fuck. You know, that's the kind of dichotomy that we have to work with today. And really this weekend now, Mercury's retrograde as the square happens. So, you know what? It's like, there could definitely be some miscommunication. If things are, you know, not clear, be patient. Mercury in Aries is not very patient. It just wants to fucking pop off and just blah. You know, there can be some popping off today for sure with this moon squaring the sun. And this is the final square from the moon to the sun before we get to the solar eclipse. So, and now with Mercury retrograde, it's like, you know what? Like, bite your tongue if you have to. Mind your own business. As much as Aries just wants to fucking just go full blast and fucking put its fists up, with this Mercury retrograde in Aries, it's just like, you know what? Like, think before you speak as much as you can. You know, Don't waste your time trying to fucking convince somebody or get caught up in arguments or just wanting to have a battle with words, you know. So, you know, and I think it's interesting too, like Black Moon Lilith on the South Node. You know, there can be some dark shit popping up. The sun is winning here, though. The sun is winning. Stay in your own fucking path. Stay in your own lane. Don't let the fucking dark shit, like, pull you into the South Node in Libra. You know? Especially, like, you know, in this moon, we'll square the nodes. Going into tomorrow, but still, like, it's still starting to activate going into tomorrow. And it's like, you know, when it comes to relationships that just aren't working out, that are just pulling you into fucking dark places that aren't, like, allowing you to, like, achieve the light, like, you know, or somebody, like, or something, or some situation, or some outside hierarchical structure or source, or, you know, like the fucking news, like a lot of propaganda is coming up. Like, yeah, we just talked about that. There's so many things that want to take you out of this freshness that we're in right now with the sun in Aries. You know, the sun in Aries is exalted. It is winning. You know, Neptune is winning. We want to be on the end of this Venus-Neptune conjunction. We want to be on this Sun North Node oncoming to this eclipse here. That's where we want to be. We want to be in the end of this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. This is, you know, a very positive place, but there's still this undertone of, like, this pull. You know, and we have to be aware of it. And that's why we love astrology, right? It's like it helps us see both sides of things in multiple angles. There's multiple situations playing out here, you know. So we have to stay in our own lane. We have to stay in our own path. Mercury now retrograde. You know, we want to fucking just, you know, save our words, you know, for another time. You know, don't bother getting caught up in ridiculous, you know, outbursts or whatever, because we're going to see it. We're going to see people popping off here. So, you know, take it easy. Just stay in your own lane. Mind your own business. You know, there's always going to be shit that we can't control that wants to control us. But you know what? The more we just fucking say, forget about it, and stay in that Aries, just, you know, charging away head first. This Mars-Saturn conjunction, this Venus-Neptune. I mean, there's a lot to look forward here. A lot to look forward to here, you know. And as much as things are shifting and changing, and we're going to see a lot of big shifts and changes in our relationships, you know, and within ourselves. Like, there's a lot of people, you know, who are really waking up now through these eclipses. They're saying, you know what, like, I don't need that in my life. I don't need that person in my life. I don't need this relationship. I don't need all of these different relationships where I just expend myself and I lose myself in them. I mean, this is the final eclipse with the sun in Aries, with the nodes in Aries and Libra. We'll have, when the sun comes into Libra, we'll have, you know, the final eclipses with these nodes here. And then by the time we get to January, the North and the South node are going to be in Pisces and Virgo. And then we're going to have mutable eclipses. So that's going to be very unpredictable and, you know, change in multiple ways at once. You know, this is very cardinal, these eclipses. It's just like, I'm going this way, you're going that way, I'm leaving over here and going there. And you know what? Like, I'm going to the top. You know, I want to get to the top. I want to discover my own path with this sun in Aries and with this eclipse, you know. So we don't want to let a lot of other crazy outside shit pull us into places that aren't serving our own self at this moment. Now, I'm not saying like, oh, like all this fucking ridiculous new age, you know, spirituality, like, oh, self-love, this and that. It's like, yeah, like, sure. Self-love is important, but, you know, it doesn't mean we have to fall into this narcissistic spirituality, you know, that this idea of self-love now can exude. I think it's kind of strange. But with the sun in Aries and these eclipses in Aries, and we just came out this Chiron North Node conjunction in Aries, it's like we really have to tend to ourselves and do what's best for ourselves, you know? It doesn't mean we have to just sever from the people who really matter in our lives, but I think that's what these eclipses are really allowing us to evaluate, and what is really forcing change here, you know, is like, what's good for me? What's good for me as an individual, you know? So, and I remember, like, I'm an Aries. My birthday's on Thursday. So I remember in 2005 when I was 14 years old, when these last eclipses happened on my sun that year. It would have been October when the full moon, lunar eclipse, and, of course, but it was around that time, and the nodes were around my sun. So I remember how greatly my life changed for the better. And that was 18, 19 years ago, which is crazy to think about. That was, 19 years ago. That was 2005, 2024. And that was the moment that took me on this journey and on this path to where I'm at now with everything I've done in the world and accomplished. Those were the moments. That was the moment. During my Saturn opposition, during those eclipses. I am sitting here at this desk in this studio, talking through this microphone, into this camera, doing, because of those eclipses. I'm not giving all the credit to those eclipses, but that's where it all started. Every bit of the journey for me. Not the journey, but the moment where it all started to manifest in a physical way in the real world, in the actual real physical world, not just the vision that you see in your head. That's when it really started to unfold. So you really want to take a look at where these eclipses are happening in your chart and how that's going to be. For me, right when the nodes hit 14 degrees going into 13 degrees, the north node's going to be out of my 12th house finally. A lot of Saturn energy today. And that's a big deal. When the north node comes out of your 12th house, it's like, fuck, finally come out of the dark. You can start connecting with people in a much more, better, easier way. And that's the purpose and that's the point. Going through a north node 12th house transit, it takes you into some very strange places, and you just have to let go and trust God and let the process happen. That's what the 12th house is all about. So look at where these eclipses are happening for you in your chart. And you'll be interested to find some weird things. And then think about 2005, 2004, 2005, 2006, and how that era got you to now. Think about that. That's where the real astrology lies, which, you don't really get into just in just a daily collective horoscope like this. But, you get into those those aren't little details. Those are massive details, in personal readings. I mean, that's what we're looking at is very, large chunks of time where life evolves and transforms and the karmic cycles play out and end and begin, So, yeah, that was a very crazy, wild time. And that's what got me to here. All right. Okay, we have the Six of Cups. We have the Six of Cups today, and this is very much you got to do your own thing. When I think of Aries, it's like a child. It's like a little baby. It doesn't think about money. It doesn't think about responsibility. It's not thinking about, what everybody else is doing. It's not worried about judgment, right? Like the South Node in Libra. It's not worried about judgment. It's worried about what it feels and its intuition and where it wants to go and what it wants to experience, what it wants to discover, what it wants to create and invent and pioneer, and try new things. And Aries is such a pioneer where it doesn't even realize it's pioneering new things. When an Aries invents a new thing or pioneers, a new adventure, it doesn't it's not thinking I'm going to be the first one to do this. Aries doesn't think like that. It just does and it just is. The Six of Cups reminds me of that energy, and it's you have all that you need in front of you to take what you want to create in your life and make it happen, But if you're overthinking about it and you're overdoing things, it's, it's going to be hard. It's going to take you down, into, exhaustion or, really doing yourself in. I mean, the moon's in Capricorn today, Mars and Saturn. It's like we don't want to overdo things. We want to stay as steady as possible with so much Saturn energy coming through here. Because it can get a little like, fuck, like, you know, Mars, Saturn people, they just go until their health fails, until, like, you know, they could get shot 9 times and they're still fucking going, you know, like that's the gift of people who are born with Mars, Saturn, but at the same time, to their own detriment, you know, it's like, you can really overdo things. So this 6 of Cups is very much just like, you know, be present within yourself as much as you possibly can and enjoy the environment and not let the outside craziness pull you into places where you don't need to be. You know, where we need to be is what we're creating now and what our instincts and our intuition is telling us to, you know, aim for and keep working towards. Because we're coming into such beautiful manifestation energy this week, even though Mercury's going retrograde, Venus, Neptune conjunction, it's like we've had this vision in the back of our heads, right? And once Venus crosses Neptune, this is when that vision starts to show up in a material way, right? Whether it's partnerships or, you know, creative projects starting to culminate or really new, beautiful, creative ideas coming through, or, you know, romantic partnerships. Like, you know, that's the thing. Like, if you're seeking romantic partnerships or you're in a partnership, it's like there's this spiritual, dreamy undertone to everything Venus related right now, even with money, right? There's something divine about, you know, all things Taurus, all things Venus, all things Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces. So this is the place it wants to be. And with Jupiter in Taurus, on its way to Uranus, like, you know, it's like amazing things can just pop up and show up out of nowhere. But we don't want to give any attention to any dark energy that's going to pull us off that frequency of this Venus-Neptune. This is the highest frequency in the sky right now. This is Venus, Neptune, Jupiter on its way to Uranus, and these eclipses. This is where we want to put the energy. We don't want to be putting this energy into this Libra South Node, Black Moon Lilith on the South Node. This Moon in Capricorn squaring the Sun. It will square the nodes. You know, this Pluto in Aquarius. We don't want to fall into that. Because, yes, there's some fucking dark shit. There's a lot of crazy shit going on right now. You know, and we're going to see the tide shift. And it's like, I shared it on my Instagram. If any of you, I know a lot of you follow my Instagram who are here. But there was Eddie Murphy, if you remember who he is, super funny comedian from the 80s and the 90s. You know, I shared this interview with him talking about, like, you know, it's like, what are you going to do about all these things going on in the world? Like, aren't you going to say something or do something about it because you have a voice? And it's like, oh, you know, like, I give it to God. Like, I trust God and I trust the process that all the right things work out and pan out. And they always do. It's like, we can't control that shit. So when you see people in the streets, like, protesting and burning shit down and whatever the fuck, it's like, that's them falling into a state like, we can control the outcome of this. It's like, no, like, we are not bigger than God, right? God bless them, you know, coming from a good place or thinking that they're doing the right thing. It's, you know, but at the end of the day, it's like, I'm always in a place, especially with the astrology, when you look at the astrology and you look at history and you look at the future astrology, you look at the past astrology, it's like, it's just this divine play, you know? It's like an orchestra, you know, that we didn't write. But we are a part of creating that as well. We are a part of creating that song each day. But this is, you know, where the complex question of, you know, free will and destiny and fate start to clash. You know, and the older I get, you know, I've been studying astrology since 2003. It's in my DNA. It's in maybe 2002. It's in my DNA. It's in my family. You know, it's in my genetics. I mean, it's a part of me. You know, this knowledge. You know, and I am studying and learning new things every day. And different forms and different, styles. There's so many great astrologers out there who come from a whole different perspective, but it's just like, it's never ending. It's a constant, understanding. There's never just this end all be all, like I know everything. It's constantly playing out in a beautiful way. And every single day I look at a chart, it's, I learn something new. So anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful Monday. We're moving into some amazing territory. Stay in your own lane. Don't let all the BS pull you out of your own frequency right now, because we want to harness this Venus Neptune, this Jupiter Uranus, this solar eclipse in Aries, which I think is great, and this Mars Saturn, allowing us to really get things done and make shit fucking happen, So that's where we want to stay. So anyway, thank you all so much for being here with me. I really appreciate it every day. If you're new here, subscribe to my channel. Find me on Instagram. Find me on the TikTok. I post videos on Spotify. And yeah, if you want to book a reading with me, the link to my booking website is in the description of this video, along with all the other links to my social media platforms. And I'm going to be posting a reading sale for May and June. May is really starting to book out, so the rest of April's pretty much booked, so it's 100%. So I'm going to be posting it probably by tonight. So by the time we wake up, it'll be available. So go to my website, try to get it for May or June. They will go fast. And this one, I'm dedicating this reading sale to this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. And we're kicking it off with this Venus-Neptune conjunction as well, which is very powerful. And I think this Venus-Neptune conjunction is connected to this Jupiter-Uranus, with Venus in its exaltation conjuncting the ruler of Pisces, Jupiter in Taurus, the ruling sign of Venus. I mean, there's so much Jupiter, Venus, Neptune energy. Just like, it's just a very amazing thing that we're not going to see. We won't see in our lifetime. Depending on how old you are. If you're a teenager, maybe you'll see Jupiter, Uranus, and Taurus conjunct again. So, because there are people who are alive still who were born in 1940. My grandmother was born in 1941, so she's 83, 84. So there's still people who were born in that time. So, yeah. But some of us, we won't see it again. So, anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful Monday, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.